The Secret Hospital is a disturbing report. Producer John Willis will introduce the first film in a few moments. The second film will be shown at the same time tomorrow night.
At the end of this field, a strange enclosed place. Beyond the walls, over 1,000 locked doors. This institution is officially secret. Every single employee here signs the Official Secrets Act. But it's not a defence establishment, it's a hospital. Rampton Top Security Hospital near Retford. It's the Broadmoor of the North. Tonight's film describes a frightening situation beyond Rampton's walls. But as we were denied all access to Rampton, the film is inevitably one-sided. But we believe the stories are confirmed many times over. Yet this programme grew out of one of the most optimistic experiments in dealing with mentally ill offenders in the world. That experiment, the Eastdale unit, we'll tell you about tomorrow night. Because while we were making that film at Eastdale, the stories we heard about Rampton were so disturbing that tonight's film just had to begin here. To the public, Rampton is usually just a name on the television news when a criminal patient escapes. When we see the inmates, they seem not just bad, but mad as well. But the truth doesn't match the headlines. Rampton does contain a hard core of dangerous criminals, but nearly half of the 900 patients have not committed any crime. Most of these are just mentally handicapped. Once beyond the barrier, every patient, whether murderer or mentally handicapped child, must leave the normal world behind and conform to Rampton's system. As soon as we began our investigations, the shutters went down. Subject, Yorkshire Television and the Official Secrets Act. Every employee was warned of the risks of speaking to us. And our 3 formal requests to film in this huge hospital were each refused. The chairman of Rampton's League of Friends, a local clergyman, was not even allowed to show us round informally, without cameras or tape recorders. We then asked the powerful nurses' union, the Rampton branch of the Prison Officers Association, to talk to us. They did not reply to our letter. So finally shut out, our look at Rampton had to begin here, on the visitors' bus. Rampton is the end of the line. It takes patients from all over Britain. Over a third never get a visit. But some families travel hundreds of miles to see their relatives. How long has your daughter been in Rampton?
19.5 years.
And you've been visiting regularly all this time, have you?
Well, as often as I can get down.
Did they give you some reason for sending her to Rampton, or?
No, no reason whatsoever.
How long were you expecting her to go to Rampton for in the first place?
6 months.
6 months? You've been there 19.5 years?
Yes, she was 17.5 and she's 37 now.
Do you think she'll ever come out?
No. It'll take a miracle.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think miracles ever happen.
It's a labour of love. And as long as I have got my health, I shall come and visit him, and God willing, as long as he's there.
Visiting time is just 2 hours. Then these parents face the long journey home. Have you come far today?
Dover, from Dover.
From Dover in Kent, all the way to Rampton?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and...
How long's your child been in Rampton?
6 years. Well, maybe 6, going on for 7 now. She's terrible now. She's getting worse. Nerves are frowning or everything, you know. She's changed altogether. You know, she's like an animal.
It's obviously very upsetting for you to come all this way.
Definitely, definitely. So, I want a cup of tea.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. This woman's daughter is mentally handicapped and dumb. Until she was 29 years old, she lived happily at home.
We used to go for walks, 5 miles nearly every day, you know. Used to go for lovely long walks.
And what led her to leaving home then?
Well, my husband come down here, as I say, with arthritis of the spine, you see. And then we had to do something about telling the doctor and getting her placed in a mental handicapped home, you see.
So why was Sylvia moved on to Rampton then?
Well, I do not know. They don't tell you things, you know. I try to ask them questions, but they don't tell me, you see. Nobody tells you anything.
Did anyone explain to you quite clearly that Rampton was a top security hospital?
No, no, no. I didn't know really she was going... I thought it was just an ordinary mental hospital like everywhere else, you know.
So, how did you feel when you first went to visit her up in Rampton?
Well, I felt very upset indeed. I couldn't stop crying all the way I come back. I couldn't cry in front of Sylvia. I held myself, you see, much as I could. Some tears come out, but she cried too. And we couldn't stop ourselves, you know. So I tried to stop. I forced myself to stop crying, you know, for the sake of Sylvia. But she was very upset. She's lost her hair, she's lost her teeth. I mean, there's no need for losing good teeth, really.
And what did she look like before? Can you...
This is a photograph before Sylvia went away to hospital. She was like that. She had a full set of teeth, so you can see, you know, she was happy there. She was really happy, sort of child, you know. And then you come and see this afterwards. It's upsetting. And then this one. She's changed her hair. She's not the same girl at all, you know. She's just bewildered, you can see. She's so upset. She's just not Sylvia. There she was again before she went. When she comes to see me, she just says, "Mama."
Sylvia Perret's story made us want to know more about this secret hospital. Rampton, unlike all ordinary hospitals, is managed directly by the Department of Health in London. Its top official sits 150 miles from the hospital at his desk in the Elephant and Castle. Behind these walls, patients are kept without limit of time. On average for men, 8 years, 9 months, equal to a life sentence. But Rampton is a hospital, and to treat its patients, it enjoys excellent facilities. Inside, nearly 600 nurses for 880 patients, while most mental hospitals are understaffed and underfinanced. But beyond this, excluded by the Official Secrets Act, we had to discover for ourselves what exactly awaits patients. On admission, they're given this brisk and friendly booklet. It's headed, "Staff Who Can Help You."
I'm not sure who hit me first, but I was hit by the charge nurse or the staff nurse. And for half an hour, easily half an hour, they just hit me and hit me and hit me. I had a black eye, a black ear, bruised ribs, a busted lip.
When I got there, it was like walking into hell itself. You know, 2 white coats coming down the corridor, swinging chains. I got hit on the chin. I went to E1. Down this long corridor, about a mile long, I should imagine. And I got wounded all the way down. My feet never touched the ground.
The staff told me to sit down. And when I went to sit down, he pulled the chair away from underneath me and he kicked me in the back. And I just looked up at him like, and he said, "Get up." So I got up. And he asked me some question, I forget precisely what it was. Oh yeah, he asked me how old I was. I says 17 or 17 at the time. And he punched me in the face and he said, "Sir." I said, "Yeah, 17, sir." And he said to me, like, he said, "Are you frightened?" I said, "Yeah." Well, I was terrified. You know, I thought I was going into an hospital, somewhere where I could be helped, like, with any problems I had. And, you know, it was really unorthodox. There was 2 young student nurses, they must have been about the same age as me, 17 or 18. And they came into my side room and they told me to get out of bed. So I got out of bed, and one of them asked me where I was from, and I told him, like. And then he just punched me straight in the stomach. And I went on the floor, and he said, "You got a pain?" And I sort of went, "Yeah." And he said, "Where is it?" And I said, "There." And as soon as I took my hand away, he gave me one as well.
That assault was on admission, but some of these men had committed violent crimes. So we wondered if these were simply attempts by the nurses to subdue aggressive new arrivals. Yet we eventually uncovered 59 similar allegations about admission, the last a few days ago. We then had to ask, were the staff violent elsewhere?
There was a screw behind the door, and he'd come in, and I was the nearest to the door. He grabbed me out. Another one came along and kicked me all the way down to the corridor, 3 flights of stairs, down into D1, inside room. They kicked the hell out of me there. They went out, and 2 of them came back again with the injection. They forced me down onto the mattress, still hitting me. Gave me an injection. I was out when I was out. They come in again, hit me while I was asleep. I got told this afterwards by another patient who come in and wiped my face. There's all blood everywhere.
Freddie is a very very pathic case to see. Is if I do the actions of him, on the floor. I don't know the staff's name, but I knew he was a Scotchman, and I recognise him even to this day. Saw him, used to drag him off. He was naked on the floor. He was naked in the ward, not week in, not month in, but year out. He used to get him down on the floor, and he used to kick him between the legs with hobnail boots on.
He said, I'm feeling depressed and I want to go to bed. And he punched him straight in the face. He said, do you want to go to bed now? And he said, yeah, I do. And that was it. There was 5 of them all together, all got stuck into him. And one bloke was literally stamping on his head. And they kicked him unconscious. He was out, straight out. And they dragged him by his legs down the corridor to a side room, and there was blood all over the place. And they got him in there, and they were still booting him. The geezer was out, and they were still booting him. Then they took him out there and into another side room, and this charge called me down. He said, get a bowl and a sponge. And I got a bowl and a sponge with this water in. And I walked to the side room door, and there was blood everywhere, all over the floor and everything. And he said to me, get it mopped up. One of my mates, Terry Rhodes, he used to get depressed quite a lot, and he had a lot of trouble with his wife and his kiddies and that, and, you know, he really missed them and everything. And he used to go to his door, and he used to bang on his door and say, hey, Terry, I seen your missus last night. And he'd say something like, we went home back to your house. You got a nice house, haven't you? We seen the kids, like, and then we went upstairs to bed. And Terry used to go berserk, and he used to run at the door, banging on the door, saying, oh, he used to scream, like, you know. And one of them, I even remember one of them say, the kids were sat there watching us as well. They found him, he was dead, he'd hung himself in the stores. They never left him alone, not once. They did it just for sheer enjoyment, you know, nothing else to do.
However, stories from ex-mental patients might be unreliable or even vindictive. But several nurses, despite the Official Secrets Act, were prepared to speak out. Nurse Patrick Breen told us of an incident during the regular decking or scrubbing of Rampton's endless corridors.
The corridors are, as you probably know, very, very long. On the third effort, he just broke down. He started to cry on the middle of the floor, on the middle of the corridor. And he sort of pleaded with one of the staff that, you know, that the corridor was absolutely shining. Where the staff, of course, just walked up and gave him a boot in the mouth and sort of keeled him head over heels backwards for absolutely no reason at all.
Sergeants went down furious, like that he'd actually had to go and get this patient, and upended the bed. And when the patient sort of picked himself up, standing there with nothing on whatsoever, and refusing to sort of reply to the charge's questions about why hadn't he sort of go for breakfast, the charge nurse just sort of stepped back and kicked him in the groin.
After a while working at Rampton, one tends to ignore a physical restraint which goes beyond the normal bounds of restraint and accept it as part of what is going on there. The odd fist or the odd boot might go in onto the patient, and whereas if you were on the outside environment, you would particularly take notice of this and object very strongly to it. Having seen it several times over a period of 3 or 4 years working there, one tends not to notice it.
When you used to be a policeman.
That's right.
Were you shocked when you first went into Rampton?
There were a few incidents which I witnessed at Rampton, whereas if I'd been a policeman, I would have arrested the people who had done these incidents. Indeed, I've arrested in the past people who have committed far less crimes than what I saw at Rampton, yes.
From the male wards, we moved on to Rampton's women patients, more than 200 of them. 7 out of 10 have not committed any offence. They've simply been transferred from ordinary psychiatric hospitals, a procedure that's become more frequent in recent years, since locked wards were eliminated in most other mental hospitals. 2/3 of the Rampton women are mentally handicapped. These women can be very difficult to nurse, violent and suicidal. Undoubtedly, nurses can be attacked and injured. So there's a place for difficult women. It was called Catherine Ward, for maximum observation. Despite the Official Secrets Act, we managed to obtain these unique photographs, taken inside this highly sensitive area. For every room, iron double doors and a tiny peephole. Inside the bare wooden-floored cells, not a scrap of furniture. With ceilings 11 foot high, the rooms are eerie. No view out of these high windows. On the bare walls, the sad signs of anguish scratching from previous occupants, even the remains of excrement. We learned that one girl was detained here for over 2 years, and we spoke to patients who'd been secluded in these Rampton side rooms or cells.
I was in there approximately 5 weeks altogether without any bedding, just bare floorboards, no bedding, no nightdress, and my food was fed through the hatch in sandwiches and doped up to the eyeballs.
And did you have any clothes at all?
No, none whatsoever, no night clothes at all.
So you were left completely naked?
Yes, completely naked. More often than not, they didn't used to bring a chamber pot in for us to use. So therefore, if we wanted to go, we had to go in and use one of the corners of the room.
And I was taken to a room and stripped naked and then put in it and left all night with no bedding, no toilet facilities, and that was it.
So you're completely naked?
Yes.
And what happened if you wanted to go to the toilet then?
You did it in the room. I myself was in a seclusion room in November of 77, 76 rather, and it was very, very cold with no clothes and no bed, no bedding.
What happens when you start your period, for example, in Rampton?
Well, you just don't get anything. If you're on maximum security, you don't get anything at all. Sometimes you don't have a wash.
They don't even give you sanitary towels?
No, not on maximum security.
Or is that just for the first couple of hours, or is that throughout the period?
No, that is throughout the period.
You don't get any sanitary towels at all?
No.
So what happens?
It just finishes and that's it, You have a bath once a week. But if you've just been taken over to maximum security and you are unwell, you don't have nothing. And as they put it, you might eat the sanitary towel or try and do something with it to harm yourself.
One particular day, I didn't feel very well, so one of the nurses says, "I'll put you in seclusion." She put me in, not a stitch of, no clothing, no ticking rugs, and she came in with a bucket of cold water and she threw it at me and she made me sit in the room with the water.
But you were left with no blankets, no rugs, no clothes, just dripping wet?
Yes. One time they was going to give me a Rampton trifle because I wasn't hungry, and they says, well, we'll give you a Rampton trifle, that's breakfast mixed up with tea, with your tea.
All in one plate?
Yeah.
What was the most frightening thing to you about it?
Being treated like an animal.
A secret report from the Department of Health admits the appalling claustrophobic cell environment of the side rooms is likely to worsen a patient's state of mind and behaviour. Most of these serious allegations are recent. However, while we were filming, Catherine Ward closed for redevelopment, but the system remains the same. One practice seems almost hallowed by custom. It's even got a nickname. They call it the Rampton Humpty.
I wanted to get undressed in my time, but my clothes were ripped off me, literally ripped off me. And I fought because it's an actual thing to do. And there was a lot of staff came, and I was quite badly treated. Sort of laid on my belly with my arms and legs up my back and hit on my heel with a plimsoll, rubber, which is painful, very painful.
Even more dangerous is the wet towel treatment. It's another Rampton practice with a nickname. It's better known as throttling out or turning the gas off.
I was cheeky, and the nurse in question got a damp bath towel and just slung the bath towel around my neck, and I was going to pull it tight, but she was stopped from pulling it any tighter. But I felt as if my head was, the blood was draining from my head, and I felt slightly dizzy.
What sort of things did you see happening to the other girls?
The wet towels.
What's that exactly?
The nurses used to get them wet towel and they used to put it on back of their necks.
What used to happen then? What was the purpose of that?
To smother it.
Turning the gas off has been a Rampton custom for a quarter of a century. Authoress Noel Arden, now happily married with 6 children, can still remember being throttled out in Rampton.
They put it round my neck, and it was damp, it wasn't a dry one, and I felt it twisting round my neck, and it was tightening up, and my ears sort of, it sounded as though there was water rushing through my ears, and my eyes felt as though they were coming out, and my tongue felt as though it was filling up. And I was terrified. I really was. I was terrified. And then everything went black. And then they obviously don't want to kill you. It seemed a form of restraint, because the next time I remember from that same incident, they were slapping me around the face, telling me to wake up and asking me if I was all right. You know, it seemed a bit of a thing asking you if you're all right when they've just done that to you.
The Department of Health, when asked about throttling out or turning the gas off, simply denied Rampton's use of the strangulation form of restraint. We can find no evidence, they wrote, that this practice has ever been followed. Yet the number of allegations of throttling out we uncovered, 46. Even nurses told us of throttling out on the male wards.
One of the staff nurses got short-tempered with him and decided to use the wet towel treatment. Well, I'd heard of the wet towel treatment, but never actually saw it. I'd heard that it was used in Rampton. And he placed the towel round the patient's neck when one of the other staff held his hands behind his back in the bath. And he placed the towel around his neck and twisted it on one side underneath his ear. And he kept on twisting until the patient's face went purple, and his tongue began to swell, sort of lolling out on one side sort of thing. And he just passed out.
We also acquired a special Rampton-designed overall suit, known in the hospital as ticking comms. The manufacturers told us these are not made for restraint. Surprisingly, there are no such suits in Broadmoor. In Rampton, they have 144. Underneath, the patient is usually naked. Invariably, the sleeves are redundant. Even high-intelligence patients, like Suzanne and Sandra, have been laced into them.
And what does that feel like, Suzanne?
Chronic. But this is how they are. This is how they use them.
And get quite tight round the neck.
And
between your legs. And they're very, very hot.
Terribly hot.
If you're outside on the court in the summer, they're very, very hot.
See, there's no way that you could you know.
How many hours a day would some patients be left like that?
Well, I've known the subnormals in particular to be left all day. And if you want to go to the toilet, you just have to go there on the spot. The subnormals don't know any different, but the higher grades, such as Sandra and myself, and many others as well, it's very degrading and humiliating.
Good afternoon. We're now demonstrating the patient's ability to produce alpha waves. Alpha waves.
For 12 years, Dr. Thomas Loughnane was consultant on the women's wards. Here, he's conducting an unusual biofeedback experiment on a Rampton patient.
We're now demonstrating the patient's ability to produce alpha waves. Alpha waves.
For 12 years, Dr. Thomas Loughnane was consultant on the women's wards. Here, he's conducting an unusual biofeedback experiment on a Rampton patient. We asked the very recently retired Dr. Loughnane whether such stories were true.
I'm sure it didn't happen. I'm not there now, but I know what was happening, and I can vouch for humane treatment of people, and that is what I saw was occurring there, that people were treated humanely. And the main object is to preserve life and also to protect people from injuring themselves or injuring anybody else, you know. Great asset of staff is to be able to inculcate that, a certain amount of rapport from the patients, and patients realise that, which they do, that the staff are their friends.
It's the mentally handicapped, the low grades, who are most in need of friends and seem trapped in Rampton. Unions in some open hospitals refuse Rampton patients, so 138 of them are on a waiting list to be discharged. Some have waited over 6 years, although they are safe to leave. The cost of locking up each one unnecessarily in Rampton, £171 a week, nearly 3 times the cost in an ordinary subnormality hospital. Stella Milton is typical. She's a subnormal hysteric. She can sometimes spit, kick and throw things. But should she be kept in maximum security? An independent psychiatrist reported recently, "Clinically, I have no doubt that she should not be in Rampton. She could be nursed in an ordinary subnormality hospital." Stella was beaten when a tiny child. She became so disturbed that she was admitted to Rampton when she was only 12. That was 28 years ago. She's now 40. Her ex-neighbours have been visiting her for years. One incident, 2 years ago, stands out.
She stood up, she never uttered a word, and very slowly took down her knickers and slowly turned round. Not one word did she utter. We were too appalled to speak, both of us. I was literally speechless.
What exactly did you see?
Well, the whole length of her buttocks were these chain marks. One would think they'd been drawn on. To my mind, she'd been held and struck with something very like a chain, if it wasn't one, and a metal chain.
And
I don't think anything else could have raised such brutal marks.
And how deep were the marks?
Oh, very deep. And the scabs were really thick and all dried blood. How the girl stood, let alone sat down, I will never know.
Mrs. Rainthorpe, did you see these marks?
Yes, I did. I couldn't sleep at night.
Could you describe exactly what you saw?
Well, I saw the marks the same as Mrs. Hilton. The marks on her buttocks were thick, dried blood marks.
How did the nurses react?
When we went, there were 3 nurses to see us. They brought me a tray and said this was a present from the nurses for me, and they all 3 kept stressing that Stella had caused these injuries herself. Of course, it wasn't just on the buttocks, it was on her head and face and shoulders and neck.
So after you'd seen that, the nurses gave you this present?
They gave me this tray as a present on the day that Stella had all these injuries, and 3 of them were there to impress upon Mrs. Hilton and myself that Stella had done these injuries to herself.
Rampton, the secret hospital, is isolated and inward-looking. Many of the staff live on the hospital estate, where father passes his job on to son. There have been official attempts to open up Rampton, notably the confidential Elliott report for the Department of Health. He called Rampton a profoundly unhappy place where motives are suspected and grudges born. True, Elliott says, I saw examples of dedicated, thoughtful and compassionate involvement by nurses working with the most difficult patients. But overall, he concluded, a fair proportion, judging from demeanour and attitude, were security officers and liked it that way. Nursing at Rampton presents a dark picture. Elliott's report was sparked off by this 1972 dispute. Rampton nurses belonged to the Prison Officers Association, not to a nursing union. They worked a 14-hour shift every second day, which the authorities tried to abolish.
We got to know the patients. We worked with continuity on the wards. We knew which ward we'd be on. We knew which team we'd be working with. The patients got to know the team. They knew who they could trust. They knew who they could talk to. It takes time to establish relationships with these type of people.
But the Elliott report noted another less altruistic reason why the nurses cling to the 14-hour day. Simply, it allows many of the nurses to hold down a second job or run their own businesses. There is never a shortage of staff at Rampton. In fact, the nurses are very highly paid. With overtime, a charge nurse can earn over £8,000 a year, and some nurses take unofficial perks, many on visiting day. We received 38 allegations of property, particularly gifts of food, sweets and cigarettes brought by parents, being stolen by staff, often from the subnormal.
By the time the patient had been had dressed, called into the office again, his goodies were already distributed amongst the senior nursing staff. They had taken the pick of what they wanted. And that bag would contain apples, oranges, some cigarettes, pears, sweets of various kinds, chocolates, things like that. And the staff would have the first pick of it.
Elliott ended his report with this plea. Rampton is in dire need of radical change, both in attitudes and in practice. Since this dispute, almost nothing has been changed. Indeed, last year, a confidential study by psychiatrist Dr. Ian Drummond concluded, in some cases, positive harm comes to patients. Unfortunately, none of these inquiries spoke much to patients. But our investigation shows that it is often the 400 handicapped and helpless who are victims of the most unsavoury assaults.
There was a subnormal patient. He'd been there for many, many years, and severely subnormal. One of the characteristics about this chap was that he had a large penis, which was sort of a joke throughout the hospital. And periodically he would be encouraged by staff to expose himself and to lay his penis on a table, and the staff who carry keys on leather straps would attempt to hit it. On some occasions they did, and obviously the patient was in some pain over this.
I've seen a jug of water being poured over an old man's head when the staff crept up behind him. A jug of cold water down over his head and absolutely drenched. This was just to liven things up, to get the old man going, to have a bit of a laugh.
The young lad had sort of given up on me, sort of going and get it, and was getting obviously more and more frustrated and cross about the situation. Went down and asked the charge nurse for the paper, and he was kicked up and down the corridor, and his clothes ripped off him. 2 other staff came onto the ward who were nothing to do with the ward. They were merely escorting patients and coming to pick up patients to go off to some function or to work or wherever. Just joined in. And they didn't know why or what was happening, but they just carried on kicking this patient up and down the ward, and by this time he was stark naked. His watch was ripped off and thrown down the corridor. I was frightened myself. by the sheer violence that was being shown to this patient. I was frightened stiff. I just stood there and didn't know what to do.
I've seen the nurse screwing his testicles up, actually sitting him on the side of a bed. It was one of those long steel frame beds, and putting his testicles out over it and standing on them. I protested, and I was told, well, the poor bugger don't feel nothing anyway.
A subnormal patient who doesn't really know what he's doing, or whether he's doing right or wrong, or what time of the day it is. I remember him being dragged along a long corridor from the day room towards the charge nurse's office by the charge nurse and staff nurse. On reaching the office, his trousers were taken down, his legs were spread apart, and whilst the staff nurse held him, the charge nurse was pulling the pubic hair out of the scrotal sac with a pair of pliers.
Often, day-to-day care of the subnormals, or low grades, is entrusted to other patients.
There were sweet kids. I know there was maybe about 30 sometimes, over 30 years old. And I know I'm a lot younger than them. You know, they used to act like children, you know. And yet, I always thought there was... my kids, you know, I used to love them just as much as anything. There was Mary. She'll always stick out in my mind because she was so delicate, you know. And she used to touch the wall, yell, twist round, and go to another part of the room, touch it, twist round, and yell. She's always done that ever since I was on that ward. And Mary started, you know, touching the wall, twisting round and yelling. And of course, Mrs. couldn't take it. She took Mary down to a side room and she started hitting her with a crumb brush. And before I got to the door, it was already locked and I couldn't get through it. And I could hear Mary screaming, you know. And if I'd got through that door, I honestly and truly would. I would have took that brush off her and I would have given her what she was giving her. Because she is a low grade. And low grades do have feelings, even though they can't help what they do.
Brian, you used to look after one subnormal patient, didn't you?
Yeah, he used to throw his excrement up at the ceiling. And staff used to think it's funny would be to mix it with his breakfast. Then, you know, get him to eat it. And him being, you know, really subnormal, he knew no difference. And he used to eat it.
At times, he really used to play up. And fair enough, he needed to clout around the lug. And he did ask for it. But some of the beatings I've seen him take, and I mean beatings, kickings, I've seen him dragged up a corridor by his hair, just dragged and being booted by two of the screws because he sat in the corner and wet himself. Because they wouldn't open the toilet for him to go. He's got to learn how to do it himself, he's got to learn how to control it. But he just isn't intelligent enough. And so they'll just drag him up the corridor, bang him in a room where he'll wet the bed so he gets another kicking for wetting the bed. There's not very often he didn't have a bruise. And I was on that ward for nearly a year. They'd kick him saying, shut up, shut up, shut up, you're an idiot, you know, and they'd just beat him up. That is the only way. They just kick hell out of you.
Was it often involving mentally handicapped patients?
Very often. Because they couldn't... There's no worry for them. They can't go and tell their mother that they've been beaten up.
They used to give him a big hard-on because he had a big penis. And they used to get him to lay it onto the billiard table itself. And when he did, they used to whack it with a billiard cube.
But this tiny handicapped child, sent to Rampton while still in short trousers, and pictured here on the admission ward, did tell his parents of many beatings, including bruised testicles. Steve Wilkins remembers what happened soon after this picture was taken.
He says, what's the matter? I said, oh, he's okay, you know, he's just a bit frisky, like. And he says, keep him there a minute. Anyway, he came back and he had this bottle, and it was prohaldehide, a liquid drug. It more or less makes you dopey, you know. It can put you asleep if you have enough of it. And he just poured this stuff into his mouth, you know, no measuring cup, medicine cup or all like that, just straight out the bottle, straight down his mouth, nearly choking him. And I didn't say anything, you know, I was too scared myself. Anyway, after he poured it into his mouth, he held his head back and he opened his eyes and he poured this stuff into his eyes as well.
Into his eyes?
Into his eyes, yeah. Anyway, I went to the bath to fill it up with water. He said, cold water. So I filled it up with cold water right to the top, like. And he just got hold of this kid. And he's about 6'2", this charge nurse. And he just got hold of him, picked him up at arm's length and just slammed him straight down into the bath.
The number of similar allegations concerning the mentally handicapped, 212. Many of what the nurses call the black aspirin, kicking with the boot, the last one a few days ago. Then there is the case of teenager Linda Bacon. Schizophrenic and potentially suicidal, she was transferred from a psychiatric hospital to Rampton. One visiting day, Linda's cropped hair smelt unpleasant. Another patient urged Linda to tell her mother why.
Tell her that you vomited your dinner back and they've used you as a mop. Mopped the floor up with her head. And when I was visiting her, they'd wiped it and tried to clean it with a sponge. But of course the smell was still there, it smelt vile. Mrs. Green had to leave the visiting room to be sick.
It was terrible. It was awful. It smelled horrible. I said, poor, what have they done to you, my dog? And she said, that's what they've done, Mrs. Green, to me.
So they'd actually mopped up her own vomit when she was ill with her hair?
After that visit, when we complained about her hair, she was taken down into a cell, hit with wet towels and scrubbed with a yard brush. And I said, what they do that for? She said, to learn me to keep my mouth shut.
One day, the police came to tell Mrs. Bacon that Linda had been found dead at Rampton. After waiting hours, she was finally permitted to see a duty doctor.
And I asked him what was the cause of Linda's death. So he said, well, she's just sat on the floor, Mrs. Bacon, and strangled herself. I said, you what? So he said, she sat on the floor. We found her cross-legged on the floor, strangled.
Some patients come into Rampton by pure chance, sometimes through an unpredictable accident. Take Maxwell Turnbull. Coming from a service family, he had a happy childhood. At the local grammar school in Mansfield, he did particularly well. Then, aged 12, tragedy struck. He was knocked down by a car and suffered severe brain damage. In a local hospital, Maxwell began to have violent epileptic fits, and his mother was called in by the doctors.
They said that a security hospital, top security hospital, would be the best thing for him. He'd never injured anyone, never attacked anyone, but they, in their wisdom, said that Maxwell needed to go in a top security hospital. About a fortnight after, you can imagine what it was. We felt like getting it by letter. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Turnbull, we have decided to commit your son to Broadmoor.
When his father died, Maxwell was moved to Rampton to be nearer his mother, who works as the Conservative Party agent in Mansfield. In November 1978, he became angry in a therapy group.
They took him back, supposedly, to the ward. Up the back stairs this time, though. Top of the stairs, they hit Maxwell. Consequently, Maxwell, black eye, complained of ribs, pain in his ribs. And I saw the black eye and the cut beneath his left eye. I said, Maxwell, I'm not standing for this. No way. I said, this is the second time that you've said nurses have hit you. I said, I want the truth, Maxwell. Did this happen? Yes, Mum. I wouldn't be telling you, Mum. He said, I'm frightened. Really frightened. And I said, well, sorry, Maxwell. I said, I am going to put a formal complaint in. Mum, don't. He said, because I did say yesterday that you were going to report it. He said, and one of the staff said to him, the tempestuous patient will end in the tempest.
Maxwell's allegations were investigated. The nurses were cleared. The investigation, as is customary, was carried out by senior Rampton nurses themselves. Nurses we spoke to explained how evidence can sometimes be falsified.
On every ward, there's an incident book, and wherever a patient is assaulted or got a mark or anything, it's got to be put in the incident book. But really, there's a way around that as well. Names has got to be put down. I have seen patients assaulted by staff, and I have seen mentally subnormal patients being picked out and accused of this unprovoked attack, and in actual fact that mentally subnormal patient's name would go down as having carried out the assault, which would cover up for the staff. I've seen that quite a few times.
Rampton seems to be a very, very much of a closed shop. We have people working at Rampton now who are in positions of authority, who've worked there for 20, 30 years. They're the old school. It seems to be a very, very large clique. And when one of their colleagues is in danger of being exposed as somebody who commits violence or provokes violence, as I said, they tend to close ranks, and there is a conspiracy of silence at times.
Additionally, the nurses see to it that other hospital staff are seldom left alone with patients.
The power of the nurses certainly made my job very difficult there, in as much as a lot of nursing staff, certainly not all, but a lot, wouldn't allow me to see patients on my own. And that's one of the very basic skills or tools that a social worker should have at his disposal.
But inevitably, the climate of violence spreads beyond Rampton. At a nearby subnormality hospital, trainee nurses from Rampton, often teenagers, now come for 3 months training with mentally handicapped children. One nurse, June Alton, remembers bath night there for one 11-year-old handicapped girl with the Rampton trainees.
I could hear this girl crying, and it was Jackie, because I could tell her voice, you see. You know, you get used to all the voices. So that's funny, because she'd had a bath. So I just sort of went, put my head inside the door, and I couldn't believe what I'd seen, you know. They'd got us sat on the seat. Could have a seat in there to sit them in, obviously, because some of them are wobbly when you're drying them. And they got a wet tea towel, and they were sort of flicking her on the end of her feet. And she was screaming. Well, I just stood there and I said, what the devil do you think you're doing? She says, well, we bathed her and she made a mess in the bed again. I says, so what? I said, it just doesn't make sense. I says, that's torture, I said, what you're doing. I think I was that stunned, I just didn't know what to say. She cried for about an hour and a half after, and we went and took her in back in the day room to watch the television, and she was still crying. I went to her 2 or 3 times, she was just holding her feet, and the feet was red. The feet was really red. And I thought, you know, what we're letting in here to train. If that's their tactics at Rampton, well, God help them at Rampton, that's all I can say.
At one end of the scale, violence against an 11-year-old handicapped girl. At the other, a brutal assault on this old man in his 70s. His name, Whitley Strawn. Whitley is a Rampton legend. In 1924, he stole a handbag in Oxford Circus. He was sent to Rampton instead of going to prison. Following that one offence, he spent 52 years in Rampton and other hospitals. This is what happened when he went to the Rampton Chapel one Christmas morning.
Went to the chapel, you see, and I knelt down to pray, you're supposed to do. And I must have leant against a woman, you see. And I got out and one of the staff said, come on, get moving, move away, come on. And I started sort of getting away with my arms about a bit, and they got straight hold of me, dragged me out, 3 of them, and kicked me all the way up the corridor from my own accord and put me in the canvas in a room in the factory ward. That's all I did.
Where did they kick you?
All over here, all here. Privates and everything. All turned black and blue and turned down black and blue.
For a mile and a quarter?
About a mile, a good distance, all up a stone corridor.
This wasn't to a man?
Three staff. Once all this black and blue it was, all round here black and blue. Testicles and everything. Kicked me in the testicles and everything.
I was told by the charge nurse to go and look after this patient and sort of sit with him and make sure that he was okay, you know, comfortable. I got down there to find that it was this 70, I'm not sure of the age, I think it's about 70, this 70-year-old lying in bed in obvious pain. And I asked him what had happened, and he pulled down the bedclothes to show that from the waist down to just above his knees was absolutely black. I mean, there wasn't even a blue piece of skin, it was pitch black, and the whole of his groin was the same. It's quite disgusting. I immediately complained to the charge nurse and told him what I'd seen that had happened. And further than that, complained to the nursing officer. Nothing happened. Rampton tends to close ranks like that.
While making this programme, we tracked down 115 ex-patients all over Britain. Those who alleged brutality, every single one. We also spoke to ex-nurses, doctors, social workers, officials, and other members of the Rampton staff, 41 individuals. The total number of serious allegations, all these made, 801. The most recent assaults, only a few days ago. In all, the number of individual nurses named to us and accused of brutality, 146.
There's that many words to choose from. It's hell. It is the most degrading thing any human being can go through, no matter what his intelligence. Be an IQ of nil or a genius, it doesn't matter. It is. I just can't explain it really. It's just. There's nothing worse. It is the lowest place on this earth.
You know, you can put pretty curtains up on the wall and nice pictures and decor the place out. But no, you can't change the system. You know, the system of brutality, you can't cover that up with nice things. No way. And it still goes on. It'll always go on, probably.
I can't sum it up. I just can't put it into words. I don't hate about it, because it's not an individual I can turn on. It's a system that has been allowed to go rotten.
It's, to my mind, an obscene institution which neither cares nor treats for many of its inmates. Certainly if somebody who was close to me were going into Rampton, I rather hope I'd have the courage to give him a bottle of aspirins before then. And I really mean that.
The treatment that my son got was given to a dumb animal.
Secret Hospital, we took a close look at Rampton Top Security Hospital. In part 2 tonight, we examine what for some patients is a light at the end of that dark tunnel. Behind me is Eastdale Villa, 30 miles south of Rampton, but quite separate. It's a halfway house where patients from Rampton and other top security hospitals can learn to cope with the normal world again. Years ago, many of them committed serious crimes.
I got sort of pissed up one night and had no money in my pocket, so I wanted some more money the next day for drink. And I broke into an house looking for money, and I was sort of caught and panicked and lashed out. And sort of took somebody's life.
You take a life. You can't put it into words except that I find it so difficult to go into a church anymore. I find it so... It's never completely away. I mean, if I thought for 1 minute that it could
or anything even similar like that again, I wouldn't want to be here, never alone outside. If I thought I weren't fit to live a normal, respectable life, that's it. I can't undo what I've done, but I can make damn sure that nothing even similar happens like it again.
Those two men have been in Rampton, the first for 11 years, the second for 18. Now they have a chance to return to society. With a handful of other Rampton patients, they find themselves, after years behind locked doors, enjoying their first taste of freedom. A day trip to Skegness from their halfway house at Eastdale. Rampton. After 11 years locked away, a patient is leaving, bound for Eastdale.
I didn't see you last week then, Steve, when you came over for your interview.
No, sir.
What do you think of the place?
Quite good, you know. I noticed there are no bars on the window.
Oh, no. Now, that's one thing you'll notice most of all, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, well, here now.
Eastdale is a separate experimental unit attached to Balderton Hospital. Here, Steve will take his first steps back into normality.
There we are then, Steve. Your new home.
He's joining a group of 25 ex-patients from maximum security hospitals all over England. Many have committed serious crimes. Here, in an informal atmosphere, they learn the skills they will need in the changed world outside. Help to find jobs and lodgings.
If you haven't got the basic knowledge, you're going to become anxious and not be able
Here
to...
at Eastdale, the staff probe and test them to see if it's safe to let them out.
I was fortunate I picked up a young lady who was...
Len, after a year at Eastdale, following 18 in Rampton, is almost ready to go outside.
Without basic knowledge, and a lot of people...
2 captains, please! I'm sorry, I've forgotten your first name. Mick and Steve.
Len, on day release from Eastdale, referees the local schoolboys' cup final.
I want a nice, clean game, gentlemen. Play to the whistles at all times.
Surrounded by local children, Len is slowly finding his feet in a world far removed from Rampton, where he was locked away for half a lifetime.
There you Steve.
Oh,
great. Get that down you.
Cheers.
Get something a bit stronger than it down you later. Go out down the local.
What you is that?
Yeah, go out every evening. Well, nearly every evening.
What they do, just treat you as normal. Just sit down and talk to you.
Have a chat with you.
Yeah.
The only thing they don't do is pass the smokes round, you know.
What,
a bit
grass?
tight with the fags here.
Isn't it fantastic? A
Yeah,
window with
no
no
bars,
bars
it's
on.
open.
Is it open?
And open as well, then.
Give it a pressure. Oh, that's great.
Strange, isn't it?
Len, back at Eastdale, is working as a porter on the other wards. The doctors hope that this experience may help him find a similar job, if it's finally decided that he's safe to return permanently to the outside world. Len was abandoned age 1 by his mother, whom he's never seen since. His father was a Canadian pilot. He has lived almost all his 35 years in children's homes and other institutions, the last half in the top security of Rampton.
Afternoon, gents. How are we? Hey? Aren't you speaking today? No? All right. For years, as long as I can remember, I've just been a number. I've not made any decisions from day to day, not even as to go into the toilet when I can. Meals, set times, everything. Everything has been so rigid. And because I've been locked away so long, the only way I could survive and not turn into an institutionalised cabbage was to get myself a loft and put myself on a perch. And I'd become so used to me tie corrected, good morning, madam, good morning, sir, no, sir, afternoon, madam, and such like, and even allowing myself no relaxation of being a person. I was so correct to a point I might have been a dumb as in Burton's windows, if you like. How have I changed, God? Well, there are so many ways. I think the main example I can give you is women. I could not talk to them at all. Yes, madam. No, madam. Good morning, madam. And that was it. You know what they did? They put me in the laundry with a load of women. I didn't know whether I was coming or going. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I just wanted to run, if you like. But it really worked wonders for me. I can look at them and talk to them just as another person on the same wavelength. But where sex is concerned, well, a typical example is I went to Nottingham and I had to find out whether I could have sex with women. And I was fortunate. I picked up who was very understanding. I told her that I'd never had sex in my life before with a woman, and if you like, I was green behind the ears, you know. But I wanted to find out whether I could, you see. And unfortunately, I picked a very understanding one. And we went to this little inn cove, as I call them, and it took such a long time, really, and such effort, but it didn't do anything for me, if you know what I mean. I suppose it was pleasant in a way, but it was such an effort on my behalf that there was no way, and I don't suppose she got any satisfaction out of it at all. You know, it might as well not have happened, you know.
This is just to illustrate how people get to know each other, groups, parties. The young boy and the young girl. And you see the differences aren't that great.
Most of Eastdale's 25 patients have sexual problems, and overcoming these is a priority. Often, they simply have no idea of the basic facts of life.
Difference between the young boy and the adult male, and the young girl and the adult female. Look puzzled. Pardon?
I'm all right.
Okay.
Dear Anthony, we will be coming to see you on Sunday. We are very excited about coming down.
Tony, who still can't read, was in Rampton for 9 years.
It's school holidays. We hope to bring June with us. She said she is going to wear a long dress in Arsenal colours. Anne has had a baby. It's a girl. So you are an uncle again. And Dad's fishes have had babies.
Yes.
See you on Sunday about 11 p.m. Lots of love, Mum.
He's got to.
There we are.
Oh! Oh, my goodness. Oh, I can't even lift it. Oh, it's lovely, Anthony. That's great, isn't it?
June.
You got to.
Come in, June. Thank you, Dad.
Right. Cut that time.
So
Let's hold the camera, Anthony.
Yeah.
Don't take one of you. Come on, Jim. Move that way.
I'll put this thing up. I'm going to do it that way, all right?
Smile, Anthony. Yeah. Hold your head up a bit, Anthony. That's better.
You put your hand over that one.
Afternoon. This is the case conference on Leonard John, age 35. This is his...
Every patient, before he is let out, must convince the experts that he's not dangerous.
Hello, Len. Come on in, old mate. Sit down. Well, Len, you know, you've done very well again here. But at the end of the day, you went into Rampton because of an overvalued relationship leading up to a serious crime. But at the end of the day, how do you feel I mean, do you see any problems?
The decision to free Len will be made by Judge Arvold, a High Court judge, the unit psychologist, Eastdale's charge nurse, and others, including a Rampton charge nurse and the Eastdale social worker. Len must convince them all.
I think the only vulnerable part was, and always has been, my yearning of wanting to belong. And it was so much because of one rejection and another. Whenever I made a relationship, it was too much. And I knew it and I just closed my eyes to it. But there's no reason why I should have a relationship, whether it be female or male, like that again.
While Len waits nervously for 2 hours, the case conference considers its crucial judgment.
Is this man dangerous? Now, you know, with our usual thing, we're not going to define it, it's what you feel. Julie, let's start from the right.
In terms of the likelihood of a similar sort of crime, I think that's unlikely. I think my feeling is, if anything, he's more likely to kill himself. If the loneliness gets too much, or if he gets involved in a relationship which he feels is going nowhere, it seems to me his response on the unit has been depression, to the point where he has felt suicidal. And I think that's the risk that we're living with, rather than the likelihood of him repeating what happened before.
I think I will agree with that, actually.
Mr. Sharp?
I would also, yes.
I just think that without social supervision he's vulnerable, but I don't think he's dangerous.
Unanimously, we do not think this man is dangerous. 3 of us felt that under stress and loneliness, he was vulnerable and maybe a danger to himself. Is that the way I picked it up? Okay, thank you.
Their decision? Len is free to leave if he can find a job and accommodation. So, in the unfamiliar city streets of Sheffield, Len is job hunting. Not easy if you're an ex-mental patient and haven't worked outside for 18 years. While Len tramps the streets, Steve, still for the first 2 months accompanied everywhere by a nurse, learns how the world has changed in the 11 years he's been locked away.
How long is it since you used the telephone, Steve? About 11 years ago. Have you seen a modern one? No. You're still under the impression of the old push-button A and B,
well,
are you?
I think I've only used a couple, you know, ever.
Yeah.
A couple of times or so.
Back in Sheffield, Len has been interviewed for a hospital porter's job.
I think I'm I think I got it. When I first went in, the bloke actually recognised me from the big house, Rampton, because he does the mass X-ray there every 2 years. And I panicked a bit, you know, because as soon as he mentioned Rampton, but as I say, I told him about my background, my child and everything, and after that, you could see the interview warming, and I think I'm sure I've got it.
At Eastdale, Steve too is learning the skills he will need if he is ever allowed out and has to get a job outside.
Yeah, it's an improvement. You need a little more penetration, yeah.
The sort of time that I've been away, like, I've sort of been really sheltered, and sort of everything's been done for me. So in a sense, like, I was sort of really a vegetable at that time, like, you know. So it's just like going back to school and getting re-educated, going back out.
What's your family situation like on the outside world?
Pretty sort of non-existent at the moment. When I was in Rampton, like, my mum come see me for about 3 years. And then when I had a tribunal, my mum sort of wrote a letter and said that she refuses to accept responsibility, you know. I don't blame the old girl, you know, because I've been a bit of a right swine, like, you know. I've sort of never really given much, but, you know, I still love her, like, and I still want to sort of to be her son very, very much, like, you know. But, I mean, you know, see, the thing is, like, is if my mum could see me now, like, she'd probably sort of say, well, I'll give you a second chance, like, you know. But I've had quite a few of them.
But the greatest problem for all 25 patients is finding their way back into everyday life after years of segregation and isolation. To help them, to see how they react to girls and drink, Eastdale takes them all regularly to the local dance hall.
Have you prepared yourself at all?
Yes, I have. I stayed up last night till about 11:30 to try and get used to it.
You get used to staying up late?
Yeah, to stay up for late tonight.
Steve, how long is it since you've been to a dance outside?
Oh, wow. About 11 years.
How do you feel about it?
Pretty nervous, actually.
What are you nervous about in particular?
Well, sort of going into sort of place like this, like where there's sort of a lot of people there, and you sort of, where it's sort of, you just drift around and you dance like, I'm just not sort of used to it, you see.
Do you think you'll have enough courage to chat up the birds?
Oh, yeah. Took a couple of pints. You're supposed to work wonders, pints, in it, beer.
Oh, that's it. Pushing it. It says,
drinks, mine's empty. You lucky girl.
Fire a double.
Double? Oh, dear. You put me off. I'll have to give me wallet to kiss of life.
That was good.
You want me to start again?
Please, if you don't mind. I'm sorry to get... No, well, Sheila will do. We can sort of start from there, can't we?
In spite of the party atmosphere, the staff keep a watchful eye.
Another day like today.
Although the Eastdale patients are unaccustomed to such freedom, in 5 years there's never been an unpleasant incident at one of these dances.
So you don't mind me dancing like this because you don't want to go outside?
No.
What's up? Aren't you on the pill or something?
Yeah.
What are you worried about? I don't mind giving you a dress. You're all right to me. I'll write to you, like, you know, I'm an old student. I don't have a car, you see. So, I mean, it's got to be booked up at the college, like. I mean, I've been at college 6 months now, like, since first term.
It was grand. It was a grand night. Got talking to a few birds. Yes. And I'm going to go, next time we come, I'll get to know them a little bit better.
I've got 3 telephone numbers and 2 addresses. But the one that I was sort of going with, like, was sort of, I could put sort of one like to sort of go outside for a sort of bit of fresh air sort of thing, like, you know? So she didn't believe in a one-night stand sort of thing, like, you know?
So you didn't get quite as far as you'd like?
Well, not really, like, but she had her hand down there, so, you know, I was quite happy, like, you know?
I really had to go. I didn't know what I was doing. I reckon I was half over the limit. Half over the limit and just got on with it. We wrapped on. I really enjoyed it.
There's a lot of things to come back, like about Rampton Style, about the crime I committed, about a lot of things like that, of course, and I felt very conscious, a bit paranoid and insecure.
Nobody hates you, girl. A majority of people like you. You're not false, you're not fake. You are what you are.
I'm not false, I'm not fake. Jesus Christ.
You're not fake. You are what you are. You don't need to change.
If I don't change, I'll end up in bloody Rampton again. And again and again and again and again.
No way, Graham, will you listen to me? There's no way.
Who knows the white lady on the horse? Nobody. Right, lady and gentlemen, we now declare this meeting open. Has anyone got any comments to make on last evening's outing?
15 years ago since I was at a dance night, you know, like
15 years?
Yeah. I reckon it was great.
So things have changed a bit in that respect?
I'm waiting for the next trip.
Well, the next 15 years?
No, the next trip, like, you know. If there is one, like, you know.
It was the first time for me anyway, you know, and found it a new experience.
First time what, that you'd ever been to anything
a
like
dance.
that at all?
Yeah.
What about Joe?
I'm glad I did go, but on the other hand, it was very nerve-wracking, you know.
Was it really?
Yeah, well, it was for me, because, you know, I felt a bit shy, you know, at first, till about half an hour later when I got up on the floor and started dancing.
I enjoyed that bit of what I had. That was my first time drinking, you see, and I got about a bit. I found out I could stand on my feet and that. That's one thing, but I have to go steady. But when I go out, you see, I have to be on shandies and that.
You have to be on shandies. It wasn't shandy last night, then?
No. Yes, it was, yes. Yes, it was, you know, mate.
No, it weren't.
It was.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Come on.
Yes.
It was beer, weren't it?
No, if you wanted beer, you have beer.
Yeah, I tried a bit of beer and it was lovely. It was sweet, isn't it?
Good old Raymond.
It was sweet, you know.
On day release from Eastdale, Steve returns to the estate where he was brought up. Cut off from his family by his crime at 11 years in Rampton, he hopes somehow to find the courage to re-establish contact with them.
The gentleman over there, you know, you think it's your grandfather.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah.
But you don't want to go over and talk to him.
I find it hard to go over there and just tell him who I am. I've been away for 12 years. I haven't even written to him, so I don't think I should put him into a set type situation of taking him back to the day that it happened and the whispers that you will get from estates and letters through the door that you would get from a state like this. I mean, it's bleeding hard, like, you know, because, I mean, I've got to think about his feelings. You know, I mean, for me to do that, even though I want to do it very much, it wouldn't be fair, would it? He's part of me, he's part of me. He's my dad's son. But he's still part of me. He's part of my childhood and a lot of good memories.
Hello there.
I've got a letter.
You letter for your job? Must be feeling a bit anxious. Get too excited.
If there's anything like that interview with May is good.
You reckon?
Yeah. Thanks, darling. Pleased to meet you.
Obviously not such a good letter. What you thought it might be. Huh? What's it say?
Typical. It's only Sheffield anyway. How can I expect the public to accept me if they won't?
Well, on Friday I tried to prepare you a little bit for this.
What am I being affected on merit?
No,
I'm bloody prejudiced.
No, it's not obvious on merit then. You know, obviously you did a very good interview. There surely isn't.
Yeah, but you read that and it's... You know as well as I do, hospital for one and hospital to the other, they all have the same administration. That wipes all of Sheffield out in one blow.
Not necessarily.
Not much.
He fled from Kampala. There was no time to destroy the evidence. Now, only in tomorrow's daily...
For Len and his Eastdale friends, another chance to enjoy the freedom of the world outside the hospital.
I didn't bargain for this! You have to get off here! I mean, get off here! It's 48! Get off here! That's your fault, that! Wait! I like it!
Lovely! But for Len, life isn't only fun and games. Although he's been declared safe to go, he still needs that elusive job. Without it, his chances are slim. This is his 12th attempt, another interview as a hospital porter.
The confidence is a bit dated, but keep trying.
Is that because you got turned down for the last hospital job?
I think so. I mean, I fully expected them to give me a reasonable earnings. They knew what the score was. Still, sooner or later, someone will accept me. I'm mate.
Do you feel nervous?
The inside's all screwed up, I think.
Take a seat. Well, now, how long have you been working as a porter?
Roughly 6 months.
I see. I wonder if you'd like to tell me a bit about your previous experiences and whether you think there is any reason which you think might disturb us if we knew about it.
I have been a total of 18 years in a state mental hospital. I went from one local to Rampton Hospital without having any criminal record. As such, they felt that it was in my best interest, and as I was a voluntary patient, I agreed. The second time I went to Rampton, I must admit I went there for rather disturbing crime. I took part in a rather nasty murder. It was pleaded diminished responsibilities in court and got it then, but put away as manslaughter in St Rampton. It involved an elderly lady, and it was rather a nasty episode.
Has there been any repetition? Has there been any other case of violence with you since that time?
No, none at all.
None at all?
None at all. And I think, in the interest of myself and everybody else, if I thought there could be, I wouldn't want to be. In fact, I wouldn't be here today applying for this job.
Well, thank you for being honest with me. Obviously, I've got to convince myself that I couldn't really afford to put the patients at risk here if you habitually did that sort of thing.
Oh, a very good interview. Yes, I think there's a strong possibility.
But, I mean, you're pretty honest about your past crime. I mean, you admitted in some detail to having killed an old lady. You don't think that's really going to tell against you? You don't think it would have been better to brush that under the carpet a little bit?
I think if one is sincere and one has got to be honest, then sooner or later, people are going to accept you for who you are and what you have been, surely. I mean, it is far better that I be honest now, get a job on merit, than tell a pack of lies now, get a job, and then cause irreparable damage later on, and God knows how much upset.
Len, like many Rampton patients, is never free of the crime he committed. Ironically, in his case, it happened after he had already spent 7 years in Rampton.
18.
For soon after he was released onto the streets, he was involved in a murder and sent back. That was in 1967,
We met 1:45, and I sat in my usual seat because she was a grand old lady, you know. I used to go and sit with her in the afternoon, and she owned a little tailoring shop, you know, mending clothes. She'd done some jobs for me, and I sat in my usual place and had a cigarette together, and a few minutes later my friend came in, and there was this bird in the cage in the corner, and I told her that my friend was interested in the bird, and he made out he was playing with the bird. And I carried on talking to the lady, and just as he worked his way up the side to the Oxo tin to get the money, she turned round. He pulled this knife out, and God almighty, he pulled this knife out, and from then till 3 o'clock, possibly a bit longer, I just can't remember. Whether it's because I don't want to, whether it's, I don't know. I remember standing up, but I just couldn't move. I just couldn't move. It was, I don't know, I just couldn't move. Next thing I knew, the door was open. He'd gone. The knife was on the floor. The shish was on the floor as well. She was in one hell of a mess. She must have put up a terrific fight. She wasn't dead, but she was as near as damaged. I felt she was... I lifted her body up. There was hardly a... She was such a mess. She must have been awful agony. I laid her body down and picked the knife up, stabbed her. I should hope to think I did that to take her out of her misery. Of course, I could have done it to hide my guilt and shame, I don't know. An honest answer wouldn't be, I just don't know. Ah, that's the one I've been waiting for, I think. Yeah. Morning, Peter. I got a letter, Peter.
Yeah, you're looking very confident. What is that? Confidence or intuition this time?
I don't know, a bit of both, I hope so.
A bit of both, eh? Yeah, yeah. Making you stumble a bit, isn't it? Eh?
We all enjoy, Peter.
I don't think you have to tell me. You've got it, haven't you?
Yeah.
Well, that's great, isn't it, eh?
Even more so, I think. I mean, considering the banners we've had, and I mean, jobs have done everything, taking into consideration it's been us and the unit done it between us. It's great.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And the other thing, of course, is that you're no longer a number now. But
I've now become a mister.
That's right, yes.
You'll have to get me a P45, whatever that is, Jill.
You've got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I am pleased.
Aye, aye.
Order of the boot now, Lynn. Definite size
No,
8,
you
size
don't
8
allow
at the door.
that.
Oh, yeah, the cold bath and the grease broom handle. Yes, you've got to
You're
have that.
joking.
You've got to have that, then.
Should we give him it now?
The regular treatment, Len. I think we ought to, really, don't you?
No, come on. Come on,
Len.
get it made that yesterday, Carls. Come off him. Don't mess about. Don't wonder what class this lunatic.
Right, this is the room. As you can see, it's just a small bed sitting room. You've got your own table.
This would be ideal.
Shall I show you the other rooms?
Certainly, thank you.
And this is the sitting room which you will share with the two other gentlemen.
This is beautiful. What is it? I think it's ideal. Yeah.
Oh, good, good.
Okay.
Well, if you'd like to pay a week's rent in advance,
Certainly
I'll make
do,
out
yes,
a rent
willingly.
book for you. While you're getting your money, I'll go and fetch the book.
Thank you, dear.
You please, then.
Oh, no, it's... It's got to work. It's free, you know. It's the beginning. This is what life is, isn't it? It's...
Have you never really had a place of your own at all?
No, it's... I've always been in homes or institutions and things like this. I've seen inside occasionally, but I've never actually been in one to say, this is me, this is part of me, I belong.
There's your rent book.
Yes.
There's your keys.
Well, thank you very much, dear.
And there's a pound change.
Thank you very much, dear. Indeed. Thank you
Right,
kindly.
the place is yours now.
Thank you, dear. Great.
With Len back for his last 2 days, a crisis at Eastdale. One patient broke away, with Len and the police in pursuit, and ran suicidally for the railway line. Everyone else at the unit followed. At the very last second, Len had saved the other man's life.
You're all right. Get your legs on, you're all right. Stand up, stand up, you're all right. Go ahead. Easy, just walk across to my car. Calm down.
How close will my sit down there?
Got too much?
I'll take it, son.
You're all right. You're all right, Paul. You're all right.
If you can get him in the car, drive him to the road, there's an ambulance coming.
Did you, Paul? Well, we'll take him straight back to the hospital. There's not something written just...
No, you've got to cut this as well, Peter. No, don't.
Yeah,
That's all good to listen. I just got after him. When I got there, I didn't know what to do. He slashed his neck. I tempted him with a cigarette. That's the only thing I could tempt him with. And then the train came and he went to go into the train. I didn't know what to do. I felt so inadequate, I didn't know what to do.
What happened then when the train came?
I just grabbed hold of him and held him down. And then Peter came and the others.
How close did the train come to you?
The grit in between. I suppose if I hadn't done it, somebody else would. I mean, the other lads came running up.
But, I mean, you were just there a long way before anyone else.
Well, I saw him come in the ward and he didn't look well at all. And as I went out to go down Newark, I saw him wandering about, doing like that with his neck, and I knew something was wrong then. And so I went back and told Peter, and Peter went one way and I went the other night. Of course, I took the nearest. So as I got to the door, I just saw him slash his wrist, so of course I ran after him. He was running and slashing.
As Len struggled to pull himself together for his imminent departure, unable to cope with freedom, Paul began his trip back to a maximum security hospital.
Bye-bye then, Paul.
Cheerio, Paul.
Drop us a line, let us know how you get on.
Yeah. All being well, we'll see you again.
Bye-bye then, Paul. Bye-bye.
Cheerio, Paul.
Bye-bye, Paul. Bye-bye, Paul. Take care.
As the car left, an emotional Len weighed his saving of Paul's life against his own terrible crime 11 years before.
When I first saw the lady on the floor with all the blood over her, just for a flash, I could see that lady instead of Paul. I didn't know what to do. I think if Paul hadn't have spoken then, I don't know. I think it brought it to the surface of what happened many years ago, what I should have done and what I could have done. Instead of just leaving her lying there. I so much want to go, but I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm so fat. I'm so inadequate.
An extra meeting tonight, and the one reason really for it, and there's only one thing on the agenda, is that today one of our friends on the ward has had a crisis in his life, and it's obviously going to affect the ward a little bit. But before we go and discuss it, I, and on behalf of all the other members of the staff, would like to thank you all for being such a great help. And, you know, I mean, a number specifically, but all of you in general, because I think you've helped both us as staff members and Paul considerably by the way you reacted to the situation. Okay?
Paul did that because he was crying out for help and he didn't know how to ask for it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. But surely he should have had that out before he ever came here. And the point is this, what reason is he going back there for if he didn't get the help the first time then?
Paul was a dark horse, but I don't think people fully realised, you know, just what his problems were.
I think we're all to blame because my personal point of view is that we're all into his own selfish thing and we didn't see the signs what was there.
There's a barrier still between the communications between patients and staff, and that's hurt me a bit, but it's also concerned me very seriously.
Overnight, you just can't break those barriers overnight. You've got to...
No, I'm not trying to break them overnight. I'm trying to say that perhaps today has been a very important day.
Yeah, but we know if we fall down here, we go back to that place and we're worse off than ever anyway. Because you've got the relic of getting back anyway. I mean, surely it would have been in Paul's interest. God knows he needs help. But no, he'll not get it where he's going. Surely it's been proven he should go somewhere where he's going to get help.
Paul's message was, not only did he imply it, but he actually said it. Look, Peter, I can't cope. I'm not ready yet. Please send me back. And we said, OK, we can still help you, Paul. Let's talk through it. But Paul wasn't satisfied with talking through. He said to himself, I've got to force the issue. So he did what he did to create the crisis that would make him go back.
I don't think I could do that. No way go back to Rampton.
It's just one of them things. When they bugger off like this, it upsets everybody, doesn't it?
You particularly, it did.
Yeah, it does, yeah. It's something now we see.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll meet again. Don't know when, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. No more will I be
a burglar. No more will I go drinking beer, 'cause I end my days in Dartmoor. I'm doing a stretch of 21 years.
We wish you the best of luck, Len. And as a going away present, we've got something very, very special for you.
Thank you, my love.
Second.
God bless
No,
you
the toes
all.
first. Wait on the toes.
God bless you. Good luck, mate. Don't you know? God bless you. Come on.
They are, Leonard.
Graham, you!
Who's here? Especially for Leonard, folks. Here we go.
Get them all.
You won't. There you are.
Hey, I'll tell you what, we'll meet again in Nottingham. And we'll have a drink together, OK?
The next day, Len must now leave Eastdale for good.
So, this is it, Len?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Glad to be going.
You sure you really want to go?
Not deep down, I suppose. And it's life, isn't it? Way of life I've known. I don't know, it's been looking forward to it for a long time, and now it seems there's a part of me doesn't want to pull away, if you know what I mean. Although I wish it hadn't have happened yesterday, I think that in its own way has assured me I'm ready. Because I feel, and everybody's told me I have acted correctly. Oh, I'm ready. From your buddy, I'm going.
Oh, yeah,
God bless you.
Yeah, so take care of yourself. Okay.
You know. Yeah.
All the best, then. Look after yourself.
Hello, Owen. God bless you. Best of British to you.
Goodbye, Len. Look after yourself.
Goodbye, Magic, eh?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I will do, yes. Yeah. I'm doing well now.
You're a lifetime. God bless you. Go on. God bless you, Tim.
Hey, take care, Len.
Goodbye, Len.
Bye.
Look after yourself, then, won't you?
All the best.
Have one for me tonight, then, won't you? A blonde.
Yeah.
Make it a blonde.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you later, Len.
Yeah, all the best. I look through.
Please at last.
Stupid, isn't it?
Not stupid. It's your first home for 35 years.
It's small, Phil. So I have to get used to the smallness. Anyway, I've got a lot to do, John.
All right, then.
Be going.
Well, bye-bye.
God
See you
bless
soon.
you.
The best of luck.
Thanks ever so much.
You'll make it.
Yeah.
See you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Yeah.
Cheers, then.
Cheers.
Good luck, mate.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Of Eastdale's first 100 patients, only 4 committed further crimes after release. That's 4 times better than those discharged from Rampton directly into the community. Len is one of the successes. But after 6 weeks free, the stress was so great that Len suffered a heart attack, aged 36. But he's now recovered and still has his job and is doing very well. Len has recently seen this film and happily agreed to its showing, because he hopes it will help other ex-mental patients.